Hey!
Yo.
Oh, that's a concussion. How we doing?
Hello, Alec.
How's it going? Nice to
Alright.
meet
Brilliant, super.
We're
Likewise. How,
we're
how,
just messing
how are you
around.
keeping?
we're doing well. I'm ready to try some of these beers and test them out.
Is this our this is our first California podcast, right? Episode? Our first guest from California?
Yes.
I
I
think
think-
so, yeah.
Sweet.
Because we haven't filmed
What part of
with,
California are you from?
who's his face?
I'm from LA,
Oh, wow.
here in Los Angeles. Yeah, and then but I live in a town called Palos Verdes right now. It's probably like 40 minutes south of like downtown LA. So it's still in Los Angeles County, but it's like it's like any other state where if you're from Chicago, but you're from a town just outside
Yeah.
or something like that. So,
Yeah.
You're still from LA.
Yeah, but it leaves me driving everywhere though. So I have friends that live all across LA, so I pretty much drive 40 minutes to an hour commute everywhere.
Sounds about
Kind of
right.
sucks, but we're making the move soon within the next few months.
There we
It'll
go.
be cool. How are you guys doing?
Good,
Brilliant.
good.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, just recovering from the 4th a little bit.
Nice.
Lots
nice.
lots of sun and a lot of beer.
Yeah, I got burnt. I got really burnt. Yeah,
Oh, I
we're
feel
not
ya.
that bad, but
Yeah,
I
you
just
got
took-
absolutely
I put
roasted. Got
I don't know if you
geez.
can tell.
fuck.
yeah, he got
Jeez, that's
destroyed.
bad.
Yeah,
That's bad.
that looks
Wow.
bad. You need aloe vera.
Right. So I think we can just get going.
I grabbed these two. I grabbed the.
Oh, nice.
one.
And the surreal, awesome, good.
Yeah. 'Cause I thought I was like, hey, with me with like health and fitness and everything, I saw this was 0 calories, so I'm like, I should definitely try this because.
And that's one of the reasons why I sent you one of those.
Yeah. And then this one was just like any regular beer that had these flavors, I figured would taste really good, so I want to try this one.
So what do
Yeah.
you normally drink when you go out?
Well, when I go out, it's probably a different story than when I'm at home. When I'm at home, I'll actually drink like more, like not like just the popular stuff. Usually a lot darker beers because that's what my dad would drink. So like even lately, I don't really drink that much beer. But when I go out, I just drink whatever's there. If it's at like a brewery, it's always dark because that's what I like best.
Okay.
And I would usually the higher alcohol percentage ones, but yeah. I mean, are we going? Are we talking?
Oh
Is this-
yeah.
Yeah,
having
I mean,
it?
this just we'll record a whole other intro to it to actually fully lead in, but
Got it.
this just seemed to be going, so I'm rolling with it.
Right. Yeah. So when I'm out, if it's like I always would prefer a brewery over some regular bar where they're just gonna serve you
Yeah,
whatever they call it, cat piss or whatever.
yeah, whatever that
But
$2 happy hour draft.
I'm not a fan of that, but it's probably definitely because of my dad. I mean, he's from Sweden, so I don't know if that's like a thing they just drink. I don't know, but him specifically, he enjoys much like darker, stronger
Mhm.
beers. But I've actually never tried a non-alcoholic beer. So I tried the other one that was 17 calories earlier.
Which was that?
Um,
Which one was that? Was that the other surreal?
I think it was the other.
There's because there's a 17-mile porter and then or something, and then
17.
the Kolsch. Yeah, that was the lighter one, right?
Yeah, it was that one. In
The
his
Kolsch,
hand.
yeah.
So yeah, that took a few sips where I was like, it kind of tasted watery at first, but the more I drank it, it started tasting a little better. But it's like, for 17 calories, it was actually it tasted like.
And
somewhat
that's more, I think, speaking to the style of the beer, and that Kolsch's are lighter and more watery. Not necessarily. I mean, the fact that it is non-alcoholic, you are missing part of that flavor profile that would cut into it. But for the most part,
And the way they make it.
yeah, and the way they make it.
So yeah, they remove the alcohol forcibly. So like the better non-alcoholic beers, you won't have that. So like all surreals will pretty much be more watered down than others.
Got it,
You'll get
got it. Oh, okay. I had no idea.
But yeah.
But sweet. Yeah, I'm excited to. Should I just try one of them right now?
Yeah, go for it.
Absolutely, man.
And I figure while you're trying it, we can just kind of shoot the breeze and have a happy hour, talk about the beers. definitely want to give you a chance to promote everything you're doing right now, because that's what we do on the podcast. We're a bunch of arrogant, self-absorbed people that just want to continue throwing our own name out there, and then we bring other people on to make it seem like
it
we're
was
less.
one of you guys. I can't remember. I don't know if you sent it to me, Carly, but it was somebody's page that they're promoting non-alcoholic beers and talking about it. It was on Instagram. It was one of you guys. I recognize your faces. It was either Ian or who's next to Chris.
It was probably.
If you recognize my
Tyler.
face, it's probably Tyler.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
What's that supposed to be?
Well, because Ian
I'm a
doesn't.
bit-
Ian's posts aren't really his face,
Yeah.
and
I'm a bit more
Oh, yeah, it was
reserved.
Tyler then.
I
Sweet.
avoid pictures of myself like it's the freaking plague.
Same as, yeah.
I embrace it.
Yeah. But the Lagunitas hop water, that was
It's
a.
actually good. I like it.
See, what I found wrong with
I
it,
actually like it.
I-
I was expecting like close to water or something, but it's not bad.
yeah, the only thing I found wrong with it is that I wish it was more hoppy. Or like, especially like throughout, you drinking, I feel like at the end it just goes out, like just not there anymore.
Right. No, yeah, it's honestly, I haven't even drank. I feel like I'm not usually a fan of I've had the Lagunitas, whatever, just the regular
Yeah.
beer with alcohol in it. And back when I had it, I wasn't a fan of it. But now I think I've drank a little more beer since that time frame that maybe I'd like it. But usually if I'm at like a brewery or something, if I ask for something hoppy, I don't even really know what it is. They just give it to me in the glass and I could never recognize it off of the label or anything. So, but no, that's good. And especially I was surprised you asked me because now that I'm on here, I was like, I don't know that much about beer. Am I gonna know enough to be talking about with you guys? Because
There's no knowing enough. I just really got into this whole non-alcoholic scene in March, so there's no knowing enough or anything like that. It's just living it, and yeah, that's all.
Sweet. Well, one thing I was especially kind of excited about with the non-alcoholic is like sometimes in the past before I even looked into, when you said NA beer, I was thinking North America beer. I didn't even think of non-alcoholic.
You're not the first person
like,
to do
no,
that.
I didn't exactly mean that. I was like, oh gosh, that shows how much I know. But in the past, I've wanted to because I really enjoy beer. That's probably the drink I'd want to drink, just enjoy out of anything. And what was I saying? Yes. So like if I'm at home one night and I just want to play some video games or something like that, especially if I want to play video games, sometimes I'm like, I want to enjoy a beer. It's that sort of night, but I don't want to especially if it's a higher alcohol percentage or whatever, I want to be 100% focused in my game and not feeling like going to sleep after I drink one or something.
Exactly.
It's perfect with the zero alcohol. It's like still enjoy the beer and I can sit in game or do whatever. It's not gonna
sit down and pound a 6-pack and you're
Right.
fine.
Right.
You can still get behind the wheel of a car and drive.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. That's great.
But so how would you rate that or compare it to some other beers that you've had?
It's kind of hard to compare to another beer because it's kind of like the first of its kind. At least that's
Yeah,
what
it's really
visualized.
It's a trick
I mean,
question.
I mean, you could compare the hops, but there's no way that he's like,
Yeah.
this is what fucking hops this is, right?
But so what do you tell me a little bit more about what you think of it and all that stuff?
It definitely tastes a little more watery, but of course it's a given. But
Yeah.
I almost tastes like a lime taste that in it. What I just see hoppy refresher. I didn't really know, but it has that green.
Citra?
Yeah, I believe it's Citra or Cascade hops, and I believe they put lime in it. Yeah, I think to lower the pH level of it when they make it.
Yeah.
So
a lot of the non-alcoholic places will mess around a lot more with the pH level than traditional breweries for a number of reasons, depending on
What beer it is.
what beer it is, the style it is, how they remove the alcohol, and all that stuff.
So is the typical process for making non-alcoholic beer taking the alcohol out of it or making it without alcohol?
Well, I'm going to defer to the expert on that one. So,
Yeah.
So
I don't even know
end up-
how it works. Okay.
and I'm going to get another beer.
So when it all started, it was just heating up the product and removing the alcohol. And then they went into a process called reverse osmosis or vacuum distillation, which basically the alcohol, the whole product goes through a membrane system that separates the alcohol from the aromas and flavoring and water. And then two byproducts. There's distillate, which is the alcohol, and then the product that was formed, which is like the alcohol removed beer, which is what this Kolsch is, I believe, because it went through that sort of process. But now the better NA beers are produced naturally, such as like Athletic Brewing, which you probably haven't heard of them. But
I sent them some Athletic.
oh, okay.
I think I sent you Freeway and the Goza.
Yeah. So, yeah, those will be the better.
But they're in the fridge. So
Yeah.
The Athletic Brewing is essentially the North American pioneer right now. They're essentially ahead of the curve because it tastes so much more like a regular beer in terms of the boldness of the flavors and all that stuff. And they're unlike other breweries, their beer never generates that alcohol by volume. They control the process so well that the yeast never metabolizes the sugars and throws out the alcohol like in a standard beer. And then the other breweries, they heat it up because alcohol evaporates at a lower temperature than water, and there's your high school chemistry lesson for the day.
Got it. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't understand any of the beer creating system. I have some friends that actually have been making beer or specifically like IPAs out of their garage, and it just already looks like such a complicated process. I'm like, I guess if that's what your passion is or you really enjoy it, because they have hopes of opening a brewery of some kind. So I'm just like, well, enjoy. I'll come by and try it sometime, but that's not my thing.
Save me a seat at the bar.
Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, do they, are these popular, buying them in store? Do you buy them online or?
It's more direct to consumer right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, online.
Okay, got it.
And with it's that's where you get more dicey depending on the state laws and all that stuff and how they classify non-alcoholic beers. Are they classifying them as full-blown alcoholic beers because they're malt beverages and they have up to a certain level ABV? And so it depends on how the state classifies them, but you can buy them in most of those ones that I sent you, I bought in store.
Got it. Okay.
And just a regular liquor
this
store.
Non-alcoholic industry is really new.
Depends on where you're looking at. In the U.S., yes.
Yeah.
But like in the U.K., it's been a thing for a long period of time, pretty much.
Yeah.
But right now, it's the biggest. It's like the most popular.
Yeah, I think it's in a kind of a renaissance, you'd say, or like it's definitely in the last 3 years, it's come on leaps and bounds. It's probably developed more in the last 3 years than it ever has. I think that's very fair to say.
Mm-hmm.
Right. No, that's awesome.
And is that at a worldwide level, you'd say, Ian, or just specifically like America?
No, I'd say worldwide. I mean, if you look at, I'd say worldwide. If you just look at the amount of brands that have come out in the last few years, it's crazy. Like if you look at any of the big non-alcoholic distilleries, they're all probably established 2017 onwards, 2016 onwards. You know what I mean? So.
And do you have to be 21 to buy these, or does it depend on where you're at, or how does that work?
Isn't that the ongoing legal question of the century?
Yeah, I thought so, because it still says like 0.5% or less than, and I'm like, so legally, the whole thing, I wonder, legally it's probably a mess right now. So.
It's because it's so new, we're kind of we're building law. I mean, not that concept is new, but we're building laws in reaction to how things are going. But yeah, it's a whole cluster.
Yeah, there's about 5 or 6 states that I've at least researched that you can be under 21 and drink non-alcoholic beer or wine.
Okay.
But the thing that's conflicting is, so like the other states like that you can't. So like normal breweries and wineries and stuff, you have to go through a 3-tier process. So if all these non-alcoholic, like specific non-alcoholic companies are selling direct to consumer, but those states don't really consider it as like its own beverage, like non-alcoholic, if they still consider it as an alcoholic beverage, then that's illegal. But like that's going on. And if you go to their websites, only a few of them make you type in, your date of birth, because you have to be 21, at least to be secure, but there's many of these companies that you don't have to do that. So there's a lot of sketchy shit, because a lot of people don't know things, so including the government. The government doesn't know either, so yeah.
Dang, that's crazy. Well, even one of the things that's also sometimes held me back from drinking beer, especially because it's, I don't know, it's probably the alcohol, but also the carbonation, is I have IBS, and I've always had it, and it was really mild. But then last year, I traveled for like 2.5 months. I went through Panama, and I ate at this really sketchy place that I think
Oh god.
either something passed through me, like a parasite that screwed my system up, but the IBS just got a lot worse, and so I've been dealing with that and trying to learn it. And I've done like every test there's possibly. I've went to every doctor, it seems like, and I don't really know. So it's really just up to me to figure out what it is. And one of the things that's been a trigger for it is carbonation, but it depends. Like if my stomach's chilling, I can consume carbonation and beer for the most part. But if it's off, if I ate something, it's been off for the past week. Like that last beer, I didn't even finish it because it was one of those days where I was like, I had just eaten dinner, my stomach was like a little bit inflamed, and I'm like, I cannot put down carbonation. But
and what exactly is IBS?
Irritable bowel syndrome.
About it.
It's a pain, but honestly, I'm doing fine with this. But my stomach's doing all right now. But maybe it's a mix of also mainly the alcohol being a problem. Because like if I've done some drinking in the past, and the next morning I'm like, okay, like my stomach's not doing well. So I definitely.
Are you sure you weren't just hungover?
I don't really get hangovers though, so
God,
I don't know
I
if
hate you
it's
so much.
but
You're one
maybe
of those people.
I think it's definitely the IBS though, and like alcohol not working that well with it. But
It's probably not carbonation.
I mean, this makes me more hopeful though. Like I'm doing fine drinking this, and that doesn't have alcohol in it, so maybe I'm better off.
If it is part the carbonation, I wonder. And I'm not telling you to do this because I'm not a doctor or anything, but just as like a thought experiment of drinking the beer directly out of the bottle or the can versus pouring it in a glass, because the glass will release a lot of the carbonation as you pour it. So you
I
also
feel like I've heard that before.
So you also don't get as bloated when drinking as well, because all that carbon dioxide is released in the head of the beer. So I guess by extension you can drink more. So I wonder if that's part of.
I'm actually gonna. That's a good point. I'm gonna try doing that from now on because I'm sure that'll have a big impact. Because
don't sue me if you throw a lawsuit at me if you end up in the hospital. Like, this guy online said that if I put it in a glass, I'd be fine.
I'm sure I've heard it somewhere. I don't know who I heard it from, but I guarantee. I feel like I've heard that same thing before.
It was on WebMD and Wikipedia.
Yeah, maybe that was it. I'm trying to figure out what all this is, but yeah. So.
Wow.
What do we got next?
Good.
What is your next choice? You got the surreal, right?
Oh yeah.
Let's just power through.
Chug. Ian, what were you drinking again?
I was going just a local, an Irish IPA from. Is it Roadworks? Yeah, Roadworks Brewing it's in Dundalk, which is in County Louth in Ireland. Yeah, it's really nice.
If you haven't been able to tell, we're an international podcast. Ian is in Ireland right now.
So cool.
But since I got home, this is all I've been drinking. I mean, it's great. It's available in Aldi, and it's like $1.29 for half a liter, like a 500 milliliter bottle, which is because generally, as I was saying, IPAs tend to be more expensive as well. So I think that's a bargain. And it's honestly, it's good quality as well. So you're not kind of compromising, you know.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, bless you.
I'm trying to figure out what the flavor of this is. Like, what exactly is it?
I'm gonna drink it with you because I haven't had this either.
That's not the same one.
That's not.
No. Which one is that, Alec?
That's pastry.
The pastry porter versus the 17 mile.
17 mile.
I might have one of those in the bowels of.
For some reason, I obviously didn't read it off the can, but I was like, oh, I'll pick that one because it made me think of like cocoa or like something like that. But I don't know what the taste is. I can't determine.
It's probably coffee. If it's the breakfast porter, coffee, chocolate, maybe cinnamon or nutmeg.
Okay, definitely something nut related, and maybe coffee too.
You're not allergic to nuts.
No.
We'll find out shortly.
Exactly,
That'll affect your IBS, probably.
Surreal Brewing Company. I'm curious now.
Yeah,
Pastry
cacao
port.
nibs and the ingredients: monk fruit, vanilla. Okay,
Literal knock on
interesting. So it is cocoa.
Ian, you've had the 17 mile, right? Porter?
Yeah, I tried last summer. Yeah.
How'd you feel about this?
Like, off the top of my head, I can't really.
I was gonna
It's
say,
kinda
there's no
watery,
way. There's no way you remember. You've tried so many beers
Yeah,
over these.
It's kind of watery though, is it? If I remember correctly.
Oh,
This one?
absolutely watery.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Which kind of correlates with everything that we talked about, which kind of, sums it down to that's the problem with Surreal, right? Just the way they make it. And this is a dark beer, so it shouldn't lack flavor, right? There's no way that this thing should lack.
And 2 Roots I also found to be really watery.
But it's kind of, if I remember, it's kind of like Christmas cake. Is it kind of fruity, like raisiny or? Was it, or I can't remember.
Molassesy? Ooh, is it molasses?
Maybe that's it. Maybe this is the flavor I can't figure out.
Brown
Some-
sugar and molasses or something?
Yeah.
What does that smell like to you, dude?
Yeah, this is weird. I haven't. had
Right?
this
Isn't that weird?
before. But no, I still enjoy it. But I think when you're talking about the flavor, I think I'd almost rather drink the hops because I feel like it's almost closer to the actual. Like, because in general, like, well, I guess not hops, but lighter beers kind of have a more watery taste in general.
Mhm.
So maybe it tastes closer to an actual beer versus like the darker one tasting a little off. But they're both good.
Well, I think in general it's harder to get a non-alcoholic darker beer on point than it is for like an IPA or a lager.
Yeah.
You know,
I would
Yeah.
agree.
there's so much more. There's so much more to it. You know.
Right.
And you were saying, Alex, so your father prefers dark beers over light beers, or?
Oh yeah, he prefers dark, definitely, like stouts and lagers and stuff like that.
Have him try one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll tell
exactly.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. No, yeah, I should definitely.
Just
have
cover it with duct tape so he can't see what it is, and then
I actually just pulled the other Surreal out of the fridge, and I had left it on the counter. So someone put plastic wrap just around it, like the wrap you cover your food with, and that did not save it at all. I was like, oh. But it still wasn't bad actually. Without the carbonation, it wasn't too bad. But,
that's
yeah.
good.
But no, he's got to give these a try as well. So yeah, like during most of the quarantine or the past 3 months, when I would drink a beer, I drink this one called Dragon's Milk that my dad got a hold of. I think it was I don't know exactly where they're from, but it's like 11% alcohol content for one beer, and it was really good. And I drink it, and it felt like 2 to 3 glasses of wine, but. I mean, I guess that's if I'm also looking at the buzz side of it too. But in general, I just I drink beer for the taste.
Yeah.
But yeah. But
Well,
this
then
is
let me introduce to you Dogfish 120-minute IPA, ringing in at 18% for one beer. Good luck.
wow.
Have you guys tried Delirium Tremens?
It sounds Delirium sounds familiar, but I don't think I've actually had it.
It's Belgian. It's like 13% or something like that, and it has like a pink elephant as its logo, and it's won awards. It was like was it one of the
You
best.
said 38%?
No, 13% or 15% or something.
Holy shit! 38% beer.
It kind of has like a pink elephant as its logo, but it's supposed to be really good.
They look
Really
good.
strong, obviously.
Yeah. So do you guys, now that you're definitely you're promoting the whole non-alcoholic community and everything and trying to further that, do you guys still drink alcoholic beer, or are you trying to stick to non-alcoholic, or like what is your take on all that?
I still
I don't
drink.
at all.
So
What?
Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
I still drink regularly now that I started cutting back as I was getting into marathon training and lifting more, just because I would have to wake up at 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning and go run 18 miles, so I didn't want to have 8 beers on Friday night and wake up and just want to run my head into a concrete wall. So that was kind of that, but I still drink pretty once or twice a week usually. Yeah.
Got it. Cool. And then how about you?
Yeah, I don't drink at all. No, I kind of not drinking on the head just for health reasons and never look back.
Nice. Honestly, I mean, for the better, right? When you think
Yeah.
of
Oh,
it.
Jesus, absolutely.
I mean, now
What
you
about yourself?
got me thinking now too. But especially, I was even gonna ask for like the reasons as well. But yeah, definitely health and fitness in general, and especially me over there.
Yeah.
I don't drink that much, probably because of the fact that there's alcohol,
Yeah.
and so the fact that if I had non-alcoholic, I'd probably drink more often. Like,
Great.
so.
We're turning him into a non-alcoholic addict.
And Tyler, do you or?
So yeah, I drink occasionally, only for special
still
occasions,
dabbles.
because I just
Right.
don't. Yeah, I mean, just this weekend. I mean, July 4th weekend. I don't find that there's anything wrong with drinking beer, or wine, or any alcoholic beverage. It's more so like the reason of drinking it. So like, I would never drink it if I'm like, fucking sad because my girlfriend broke up with me, and I'm gonna drink, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I do other things to make myself feel better in general. It's usually fitness related, which is usually the connection. You kind of, take a fitness route
Good,
rather than the drinking route, and then
Right.
somehow
I think-
intertwine them.
I think one thing myself, and the lads have in common though is we're not Puritans. Like I know myself as somebody who doesn't drink. I never preach to somebody and say, you shouldn't drink. Like I'm studying bar management in the business, so I can't really take a Puritan approach towards alcohol.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I never would either. I think it's each to their own.
Yeah, but I could totally see myself like drink when I'm gonna drink alcoholic beverages is always more of a social thing.
Yeah.
But then if I'm like on my own, home, wherever else, like non-alcoholic looks like the move. I mean, I could still drink non-alcoholic with social events or whatever, but it just depends on what we're doing or whatever.
Yeah, and more bars now are having more options for non-alcoholic stuff rather than just like a fake cocktail, like a mocktail or something. They're actually having non-alcoholic wines and non-alcoholic beers and stuff like that that are actually good that people want to drink. So you still get that kind of social camaraderie without making the sacrifices of either your sobriety or your health or what have you. So
Right. And yeah, as it grows in popularity, I'm excited to see how much even better they're able to make it. Because it was the same with like the gluten-free market. Like my mom's always been gluten intolerant for like the past decade. So way back, it was a struggle to
before it was cool.
Yeah, before it was cool even. It was hard to find anything because our house was full of like gluten-free stuff for her. And it's hard to find anything that didn't taste like crap. So, but now of course it's evolved into like some stuff I don't even know it's gluten-free and I'm eating it and it's really good. So I'm sure they're going to do the same with this market for the non-alcoholic stuff. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
And then especially also being in LA, if it's a situation where like I'm going to drive there and back, it's way better to just not take any risk or have to worry about anything and you just drink non-alcoholic beer. Unless you're in Europe, like UK, where you can probably just commute everywhere and it doesn't, like maybe that's not the reason you'd rather drink alcoholic over non-alcoholic, but definitely like especially in Los Angeles where you got to drive everywhere anyways, that's probably a better option in some cases. Yeah.
Can you go back to more so your reasoning in drinking? So you kind of said like a social, scenario. That's usually when you drink, but like, like do you need that form of like stimulus when you like go out with a bunch of friends? You know what I mean? So I'm thinking if you would drink non-alcoholic beverages, you don't have that alcohol to spike that adrenaline. That feeling, right? So now
it depends really on.
Or is it FOMO? Everyone else is doing it, so I got to drink.
Yeah, and now
no. I could totally drink a non-alcoholic beer in that case, but I definitely like the effect of at least being like a little bit buzzed and just totally like.
I'm right there with you.
Introverted. I'm really introverted, especially if people are going out dancing. I gotta have a beer or something or a shot.
I need like 4 to think about it.
Yeah, because then I'm good. But if I'm totally sober trying to dance with everyone, I'm just like.
I hope that everyone else has blackout so they don't remember it. For their sake.
I would hope no one's gonna give a fuck about you dancing though. No one's gonna be like remember like a year later like, oh, remember that Chris dude dancing? What an idiot.
That's the kind of stuff that'll come out at your wedding and
just embrace it. Embrace it, right?
That's so funny.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Embrace those weird times, right?
I'd agree with Tyler there 100%, yeah.
It's really hard to do though. So like I've been trying to do that, like in those, you go out dancing and shit and you aren't drinking, so you feel everything, but then you just kind of not give a fuck. That's kind of how I try to do it. It's really hard to do, right? Yeah. But like until you try to do it.
The benefit though, there's teaching you to be more self-confident and be in those situations.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because
I agree with
alcohol
that.
can be really easily used as a way to just like fix those things
Yeah.
for people that are insecure or whatever. So, yeah.
It's definitely a social crutch. I mean, that's definitely one thing I'd say. But I think one thing that got me over like the social fear of stuff like that was about 6 months after I gave up drinking, maybe more. I done a Strictly Come Dancing competition for my GA club to raise money, and obviously I wasn't drinking, so I had to do like a salsa up on stage in front of like four or 500 people. I was recording and stuff, and we finished in third place, but it was a good laugh. But I think after doing that, it was like nothing really bothers you anymore, you know.
Oh yeah.
Fuck,
Dang.
yeah.
I find your night is really dependent on who you're with, you know.
That's true. I mean,
If you're with a lot of people that are morons when they're drunk, you're just like, oh, get me the fuck out of here.
see, but yeah, I guess the difference is I kind of don't even want to go to a club anymore for the fact that I get no sort of stimulus for it, right? Because I mean, me personally, I have a girlfriend, so like, I mean, most people go to the clubs.
Yeah, the pull, yeah, absolutely.
Right? And to drink, kind of not to give a fuck, but now I kind of care about my life and everything that I do. So, like, I would prefer to go work out and kind of replace it that way, right? But if I would go to a club and not be drunk, how would I feel, right? I feel like I'd just be angry. Like, I have a bunch of drunk people all over me, and I'm just
Welcome to my life when I'm around most people. I'm just angry.
I used to find as well at the start, you kind of felt like you were responsible for your mates that weren't drinking and you were. But then I used to just say, listen, I'm just here to enjoy myself.
You missed the first part of this conversation where we were talking about going to clubs sober and it not being an attractive scene to anyone.
So I think most people are going to, like, marijuana.
No.
So I think marijuana,
disagree.
CBD is kind of the route that now people are going towards that could be healthier based upon what science you're looking at. But
based upon what science you're looking at. Isn't that a statement?
see, I don't know. I don't know that research. How healthy compared to alcohol.
But what's the next one that you grabbed?
Oh, yeah. Athletic Brewing.
Yeah.
Damn, son.
That.
Is that your go-to? Or
For the most part, yeah. I'm also an ambassador to Athletic Brewing.
oh, cool.
So whenever I see people drinking, it's like, hey, you're drinking my beer.
There it is.
But yeah, this is one of the ones that just tastes like a beer, and it's really hard to... You don't get that wateriness that you get with the other ones.
This is the best one I've had so far.
And it was the first IPA, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of shows as well.
Yeah.
You always see the IPAs.
Oh, yeah, it is. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. All right. Yeah, definitely my favorite one.
That's Athletic's flagship. So that's the one that they have year-round that they're distributing to everyone and everywhere. They just opened a brewery in San Diego, actually, so you'll probably start seeing them in liquor stores around you if you aren't already.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it yet, but at the same time, I haven't been on the lookout for this exact brand. But now, anytime I walk through, I'm sure I'm going to see it if it's there. So,
The
I'm
brainwashing.
surprised. Yeah, after this, definitely even beat the other one. So this is good.
Yeah.
I mean, but at the same time, the other one was 0 calories. So you're playing with calories versus non, and it's still being decent. So.
But when you weigh that, even on the scale of calories, if you weigh those, 70 calories in that one?
Yeah.
You weigh that 70 calories versus a traditional alcoholic IPA.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge caloric difference.
It is, like at least half, probably,
Yeah.
or even more than that. But I'm surprised. Wow.
Hey, Mikey, I think he likes it.
A good brand to rep. So is that the best one you've had then?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I drew a blank. That one, their double IPA Freeway is really good. And then there's actually a brewery, an alcoholic brewery here in Maryland that just made its first non-alcoholic beer, which has been the only beer that has rivaled and will give Run Wild a run for its money. Everything else is 6.5, 7.5 out of 10, but I use Run Wild as my... Everyone in the NA scene knows Athletic, so I use that as my baseline of like, if Run Wild is a perfect 10, how does it stack up against it?
Right. Well, dang, yeah. If I was gonna go give some friends some non-alcoholic beer and be like, try it, I'd definitely give them these because I was like, this is gonna be the best bet at giving a good introduction.
Just don't tell them what it is. Just say, here, drink this.
Right, exactly.
Hey, do you feel like you have any sort of placebo effect of having a buzz?
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Because that's been a known thing to happen. So there's been some issues with that with sober people not drinking it. Because that's a whole conflict in itself that I don't know if we're really going to get into. But the first time I drank Athletic, I honestly got it. And I never had a beer for probably 2 or 3 months before that moment. So I don't know if it's just my body just randomly having alcohol and it's like, oh, wow. Like I got all, that energy type feeling.
Even though you're drinking non-alcoholic beer?
Yeah.
Is it maybe recognizing all the same ingredients that make up a beer? I didn't even think of it until now, but now that you told me, I'm like, do I feel a tiny bit? But maybe it's just on in my head.
Yeah.
That I'm thinking
then you'll
about
probably have it soon enough because you're telling yourself, like, hey, like,
yeah,
do I have
exactly. That's so funny. But yeah, maybe a little bit. I did not even think about that. That's interesting.
Well, yeah, it's more than just beer. It's all mind. It's all a social scenario type of beverage. It's really weird, man.
Yeah. We haven't even gotten into the wines and spirits yet. We're still scratching the surface, even ourselves.
Oh, wow.
The three of us have our respective, I guess, knowledge bases that we have. So Ian does a lot with beer. His Instagram is all non-alcoholic beer reviews, and so if you wanted recommendations, just go to his. Tyler is our wine connoisseur of the group. I mean, well, that's your specialty. You know more about wine than us two, and I'm getting into the spirits, so the whiskeys, gins, tequilas, and what?
Canned mocktails.
Canned mocktails, yeah. So we all kind of have our own different, like...
non-alcoholic gin and whiskey?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus.
Did you get it?
Yeah, it's, shit, I almost just kicked the power button to my computer.
We're a real motley crew here.
Right? Yeah. I know, I haven't even seen any of this stuff or been exposed to it or heard about it.
There's really no reason for you to see it yet. The market's just beginning. It's not...
There's whiskey, it's 0 proof, and it's just a bottle of non-alcoholic whiskey.
And that's just a bunch of spices put together. Yeah, that's really all it is.
They get the bite, like the traditional bite that you would get from a whiskey. They use like capsaicin and some of the spicier peppers to give you that like back of the mouth bite feel that you get when it's like you have that sip of whiskey type of thing. They'll use hot peppers and chili peppers and stuff like that to give you that.
Got it.
Sensation.
Yeah, and especially with non-alcoholic liquors or just liquor in general. Usually the only reason I'm drinking liquor is only for the effect. So that's why I don't drink that
absolutely
blasted. I'm
yeah.
like, I don't even know if I'd enjoy the non-alcoholic whiskey because I'm not drinking it for the taste, really.
Yeah,
but definitely the beer. Like I'm stoked on this Athletic one.
Awesome. I do have a discount code if you want that.
Oh, sweet.
To order
yeah,
some.
pick some up. I'd be happy to.
But yeah, the whiskey, I don't particularly like the taste of it as like neat or on the rocks by itself. I will pretty much use it to make a mocktail of some sort. Whether it's an old fashioned or whiskey sour, something like that. I just don't like the taste of that non-alcoholic one. It's too much of an acquired taste.
Definitely.
And I'm not acquiring it.
Just yet.
I think I'm starting to feel the placebo effect just a little bit. But it's like slightly there. But placebo's always a weird space for me where it's like it could be or it couldn't. Because sometimes you'll tell yourself, but then if you're actually buzzed, you'll be like, okay, this is actually how it feels. But when it's placebo, you don't know or if you know or you don't. Like, it's really weird. So.
Yeah.
That's all belief.
But. Anywho, well, I don't want to keep you any longer. I know there's still time left in your afternoon. It's, 11 o'clock where you are, Ian? 12 o'clock?
Yeah, 20 past 11, yeah.
Yeah.
Daryl Dublin.
We got a couple things that we got to do, so
Yeah.
we will let you go. Thank you so much for being our test guinea pig for our
Yeah, I'm glad you had me on. This is interesting.
non-alcoholic stuff. And I can send you that code if you want. But before we go, you just want to...
No, you really have to get the code. You really have to get the code.
I do. It's written into my contract. I do. Do you want to just go through your social medias, what it is, what you do? Just for the record.
Sure. I'm in a spot of like a weird place on both sides of what I do, sorta. So I mean, obviously, first off, the health and fitness on my social media, pretty much just trying to help motivate, inspire, and get people on track with whatever their health and fitness goals are, and trying to be one of the most authentic fitness related people out there that has a voice, to just help people like learn the real stuff, because there's so much crap out there in the health and fitness world. So I'm really trying to just do that, and then I have a couple fitness programs I've released that's been helping people out, and then I got some more stuff in the making so far. Those have kind of been some like, I'd like to think of them as warm-up fitness programs to what I have coming next, but it's a work in progress, so we'll see. I'm excited for that, but so yeah, that's really the social media is something I've always been into, and but that's kind of stems from what my actual passion is, and that's filmmaking or just being creative in general, and that's what really got me to dive into social media in the first place, and then what made me start creating content around me as a personal brand rather than just being behind the camera. But I also do freelance filmmaking, and just started hopping back into that now. So I'm excited to get back with that. Yeah, basically being creative and social media are two things I enjoy doing. So that's a little mix of what I do. If you want to follow me on Instagram, Alec Olaker, or Alec_Olaker. No one probably knows how to spell Olaker though, so it's all good.
Well,
We'll put it in the description below, right after we tell people to click like and subscribe and all that stuff. Yeah, so it's just Alec Olaker on Instagram and Twitter.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm probably on every social platform posting something. I'm trying to be on them all so I can be like omnipresent across social. It's a work in progress on how well all the accounts are doing, but at least I'm posting, even though I can't be on every single one 24/7. So yeah, so the only reason I'm Alec_Olaker on Instagram is because I was Alec Olaker at one point on my old film account, and then I changed it to Alec Olaker Films, and now I'm stuck not able to get it back, but it's not taken, so it's a very odd position. I need to like find an Instagram rep to get that underscore off. But yeah, on all the rest of the social platforms, whether it's Twitter or TikTok or YouTube, it's all just Alec Olaker one. Oh my gosh, the carbonation. It's just Alec Olaker, one word.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, and
cheers, Alec.
I'll be in touch to follow up, and hopefully we've opened a new world, and You
absolutely have, yeah, especially with this one. I'm like, this is really good. So I'm definitely rethinking alcohol consumption.
Yeah.
I love it. But I'm definitely, I'll go to Ian's page to find some reviews.
Cheers, man. Thanks so much. That'd be savage.
Yeah. And then, I'll check your page out as well, Tyler. Again, I think the one I originally saw. But yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. This was really cool.
Awesome.
No, thanks for joining us.
What you're doing. I like it.
Thank you. Yeah, and this episode will be out on Friday as well, cool. Assuming Apple.
Where do you put them out? What platform? Or?
Spotify, Google Podcasts.
Oh, okay.
We're in the middle of kind of figuring out why Apple is selective in what episodes it actually decides to publish and not, but ultimately we will be on Apple Podcasts as well, and then we upload the audio and video to YouTube as well.
Got it.
So okay. Everywhere.
Good.
But
all right, guys.
All right, awesome. Thanks for joining. Talk to you later.
See you, brother. Have a good day. Thank you.
Man. You as well. Peace.